Have you ever desperately wanted to say no? Have you ever caught yourself rearranging your entire day to avoid disappointing someone else, even if it meant letting yourself down? Or maybe you found yourself constantly exhausted, quietly resentful, and wondering, why do I feel like I'm living for everybody else but me? And if that sounds familiar, you're not alone. And this episode is for you. Today, we're digging into something that hits home for so many of us: people pleasing. What causes it? How do we recognize it? And most importantly, how do we break free from it without losing our kindness, our compassion, or our relationships? Because here's the truth: people pleasing isn't kindness, it's fear wearing a nice smile. So let's jump into it.
You're listening to the Health, Tech, and Wellness Podcast, where we cut through the noise and get straight to what really works for real people. This is more than just losing weight. It's about gaining life and doing the things you never thought you could do, building lasting confidence and creating a body and mind you truly love. I'm your host, John Adams. I've spent years refining a transformative, sustainable plan that's realistic, balanced, and proven to work. And I'm on a mission to share the strategy that changed my life and help others build the life they truly deserve.
Welcome to episode 20 of the Health, Tech, and Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, John Adams. Episode 20. That's 20 episodes of real talk, real growth, and real community. If you've been riding with me since the very beginning, thank you so much. And if this is your first time here, welcome. You showed up at the perfect time. Go ahead and hit that like button, hit subscribe, and follow us as we grow through this journey. This episode is a continuation of something a lot bigger. So stick with us as we dive deeper into Mental Health Awareness Month. And we're leaning into the wellness side of Living 95. Because real wellness isn't just what you eat or how you move. It's also how you speak to yourself, how you set boundaries, and how you take care of your emotional energy. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. People pleasing isn't about being nice. It's about being afraid. At its core, it's driven by fear. Fear of disapproval, fear of rejection, fear of being too much or not enough. Many of us learned early on that being liked, being agreeable, keeping the peace was the safe path. Maybe you grew up in a household where love was conditional. Maybe you were praised for being the easy one, the peacemaker, or the helper. And over time, it got hardwired. If I make everyone else happy, I'll be safe. I'll be valued. But here's the cost. You trade your peace for approval, your time for temporary praise, and eventually your identity for someone else's comfort. And here's where I want to pause and make something really clear. Being kind is not the same as people pleasing. Kindness is a choice rooted in love. People pleasing is a reaction rooted in fear. One comes from overflow. The other comes from overfunctioning. You can be kind, generous, and compassionate without abandoning yourself. So how do we recognize the patterns? Let's name the signs, because once you see it, you can start to shift it. Saying yes when you really mean no. Constantly apologizing, even when you've done nothing wrong. Feeling guilty for resting, setting boundaries, or just choosing yourself. Feeling drained after interactions, not because you don't care, but because you keep giving way past your limits. And the hardest part, you might still look successful. You might still be the one everyone comes to for help. But underneath, you feel stretched completely thin. You feel resentful, invisible, and tired of performing a version of yourself that everybody loves except for you. Let me tell you something that took me way too long to learn. Boundaries aren't walls. They're the doors that you build so you can live inside of your life, not outside of it. Setting boundaries doesn't make you selfish. It makes you honest and healthier and more sustainable to the people who love you. So what does that look like? Define your limits, not just in your calendar, but in your energy. Communicating your needs clearly without apology. Saying no, not with guilt, but with clarity. One of the most powerful things that you can say is, I'm not available for that right now. Simple, direct, respectful. And best of all, it doesn't require you to over-explain or justify your worth. Let me ask you a question that I bet you have not asked yourself in a very long time. What do you need right now? Because self-care isn't about just bubble baths and smoothies. It's honoring your capacity. It's checking in with yourself before you check off another box for someone else. Self-care is saying no to protect your peace. Taking a walk without your phone. Letting go of shoulds and getting honest about what nourishes you. And the moment you start practicing that kind of care, real care, not performance care, you start showing up as someone who is rooted, not just liked. People pleasing is about staying safe. Authentic living is about being seen. And yes, that's scary. It requires vulnerability. It requires being misunderstood. It requires letting go of control. But you know what else it requires? Courage. Courage to stop performing. Courage to disappoint people in order to stay true to yourself. Courage to say, this is who I am, and I'm allowed to take up space. The more you practice authenticity, the more joy that you unlock. Because there's nothing more freeing than finally being you without apology, without a mask, and without waiting for someone else's approval. If you're in a season of life right now where you feel like your voice has been on mute, where your needs are always last on the list, where your worth feels tangled in how useful, helpful, or agreeable you are, this is your reminder. You are allowed to rest. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to exist outside of who people expect you to be. And if this episode hit home today, do me a huge favor. Share this episode with someone else who might need that permission to prioritize themselves too. And as always, stay healthy, stay balanced, and keep driving forward. I'll see you next time.